This is part 2 of a video in which I'm showing the re-Tolexing of this old brown face amp, which somebody had spray painted black in the 80s when I guess they went out of style. So you can see part 1 where I removed the Tolex, and then part 2 this week where I'm painstakingly adding it on and making a ton of mistakes. So hopefully you can learn from my mistakes as I go here and get a few helpful pointers. I'm Dave with Stringing Together, and let's dive in. I had to clear off a big space for this, and luckily he bought me a bunch extra, so when I screw up it doesn't actually matter too much. So the seam that will be visible will be on the bottom and the top, so I wanted to make sure I use that factory edge for that side so that way you get a nice parallel line there. I think if that was askew it would be pretty noticeable. And I didn't bother measuring it, I just kind of eyed it up, made a parallel line, making sure that I had enough room to fold over on that edge. And scissors worked fine to cut it, I didn't really have any issue there. So the first struggle was just getting the edges to line up perfectly, because obviously there's a stopping point there with the wood, and I ended up working out the way that I cut it. But I think the next one I was a little bit more careful about making sure that it was the exact distance to the wood. And then the line on the top ended up being a little bit too far over when I was referring back to the pictures or the videos that I took, because that seam was not quite stretching over that far. So I'm really glad that I took a video. Now for the glue, I just used Titebond wood glue, which is just high quality wood glue. I'm sure regular wood glue like Elmer's would work, but I use Titebond for everything that I do. It's a little bit more expensive, but I'd say it's worth it. I didn't have a paint roller on hand, so I ended up just grabbing this rolling pin from upstairs, and I think it actually worked better because it kind of covered the whole distance of the edge there. So here's my first attempt at a corner, and I made the mistake of starting on the top. I'd recommend doing your first corner on the bottom where those metal parts are attaching, so that way when you screw it up it's going to be covered up. So my first strategy was just sort of a 45-degree angle directly into the corner, and it didn't work out amazing. There was a bit of a gap there, so I'll show you a close look of the one that I did figure out. The stapling was pretty easy in terms of the edges. You just kind of work your way along, but definitely start either in the middle and work your way out, or start on one side and work your way towards the other side, because you really don't want to have any gaps there. I did have to go and pull out some staples, glue it down, and then re-staple it. So the other difficulty was the upper part here where there's sort of an extra slight taper, and I ended up with a few bumps. So what I did was I had to force some glue in there, and then I used a piece of wood to press it tight, and then another piece of wood on the other side with some clamps to pinch it together, and that seemed to do the trick. After a few more corner struggles, I feel like this strategy kind of worked. So I fold one side over, and then I fold the other side on top of it, and that will give me a natural crease, or at least show me where it's going to end up. So you can fiddle around with that until you have a crease that you're happy with, and then cut off that part where it's folded. So in this case I cut just a hair farther beyond that line on your left side there, and then that will give me just enough of an angle for it to reach around the other side. And this corner ended up working out pretty nicely, so it folds over one side and then it's out of the way of the other one, and you're not getting a little nub on that corner, which was kind of the bane of my existence right there. The other thing I found was only putting glue on the top and then waiting to put glue along the edge there, because what I was finding is that by the time I got the top rolled out flat, the edge would start to tack up and I wouldn't get a good hold on that edge, which is really important to make sure you don't have any bumps along that edge. That'll be pretty noticeable. So for this second side, I don't want to have to go back and fix the bump that ended up on that slight taper. So I'm going to try the same strategy here. I just fold it over, down, and then fold it over again, and then judge where that crease is, cut along the crease, and see how that works out. So I'm basically just cutting along that crease because that prevents it from getting overlapped with itself, which is where that sort of bump was coming in, and it seemed to do the trick a little bit better. So next is the easier part, which is the top and the bottom. I did have to adjust that line after looking at the videos and just making sure that that seam is in the right spot, because it will be visible. Trying not to lift anything up there, so just gently peeling it off. The top was pretty straightforward because it's just flat. The only difference being I had to be really careful about how I measured it, because since the top was going over top of the seam, I couldn't cut it afterwards, so I had to line it up perfectly before I put the glue on. Once you put the glue on, it does stick pretty good, so you have to be careful about that as well. You want to make sure you have it lined up before you press it into that glue. And in this case I found if I didn't have squeeze out on the end, then the end didn't really stick very well, so I kind of wanted that, but I was just ready with the cloth. So by the bottom, I kind of refined my technique a little bit, which sped things along. I made sure to use an excess amount of glue on the edge, that way I didn't have to go back and re-glue anything that was sticking up. I found if I started in the middle, held it really tight, locked it in with the stapler with a couple of staples, then I could work my way from the middle out, and I could really pull it tight, that way there's no gaps along that edge. So the face of the amp was pretty easy, as long as you cut it square, and there's one part that has a backing for the actual Fender logo, so I made sure to mark that, but I didn't mark it low enough, so it actually got covered up. So yeah, that's all right, that was pretty easy to find. So once I lined it up, the only thing you want to keep in mind here is that if you pull it too tight and it's not perfectly straight, then the seams on the actual face will kind of look a little bit wonky. So you have to make sure just stop and check as you go, as you're stapling it, that you're not pulling it out of alignment. So then it's just the hardware. So I started off with the corners, they're pretty easy. It kind of hooks onto the corner there, and then I pre-drilled the hole. Now this first one I screwed up a little bit and I had to adjust it, because if you don't clamp it down tight first before you drill that hole, then there can be a slight gap. And then for this backing piece, I just basically followed the pattern of the one that I took off, and it seemed to work out fine. But I couldn't put staples in it because it's too thin, so I pretty much just jimmy rigged a situation here with my clamps, sandwiching it together and also using the tape to hold the glue in place. And take your time with the handle. You want to make sure you have that measurement pretty accurate, or else it's going to look pretty funky. So measure halfway widthwise, measure halfway lengthwise, and then make a little cross piece, and then put your outside markings for the holes, and then drill it. The Fender logo was pretty easy. It was just those little screws, and you have to feel where that backing plate is because it's only on the corner, as you'll probably see, and then yeah, just drill it in with the screwdriver. And then putting it all together, I made sure to leave those screws in there just so I didn't have to fiddle around with anything, and they just fit nicely in the holes, so this part's pretty easy. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. There's some things that I kind of just accepted I was going to have to live with, like that wrinkle right there I couldn't really get rid of. But when I did this side, it worked out a lot better. And I really like the way that nice clean brown grill face looks with that Fender symbol on there. And I wasn't sure how the back went together, so I just kind of left that for him to put the guts in. I had to replace this wood here as well. So just a quick recap here of a summary of the things that I would say are the most important. Focusing on the corners, making sure that you know how you're going to do that corner. You can go back and see the technique that ended up working out. When you're doing the corners, start with the bottom and make sure you roll it flat, glue the edges separately, start in the middle, work your way out with that stapler, and yeah, hopefully you do a better job than I did. Learn from my mistakes. This is not my forte. It's the first time I've ever done this. Normally I focus on things like fretwork, wiring, structural repairs, making my own tools. So hit that subscribe button if you want to dive into more of that stuff. I put out a video every week, and if you want to check out some free resources that I have, go down to the description below and you can find a whole playlist on wiring. I've got a guitar wiring cheat sheet. I've got a whole course that you can have for free for fret leveling, and all you have to do is put in your email. So that's all for now, and I'll see you next week.